And today we have three panelists with us, and we'll be talking about a very interesting topic called healthy weaning for babies, do's and don'ts. To begin with the live, I would first request Dr. Sushanta to tell us about what is weaning.
Good afternoon, everyone. Firstly, thank you, BabyChakra, for inviting me to be a part of this childhood nutrition. And I think topic on childhood nutrition and weaning is a very, very important part because if the weaning is done right, the baby is not only going to grow, but also the height as well as the cognition and the intelligence. So weaning is a very, very important part of childhood nutrition. So that brings us back to the question, what is weaning? So weaning is a very beautiful process of introducing solids to baby, maybe around 4 to 6 months of age, along with breastfeeding, slowly, gradually, and with lots of tender love and care.
Thank you, Sushanta, for the wonderful insight. As we all know, that there are different stages to weaning. So, Dr. Aishwarya, could you just, give your insights on the different stages of weaning?
Yes, sure. Thank you, Baby Chakra, for being, taking me into this session. Really happy for the same. And yes, basically, weaning is a very gradual process whereby we introduce solid foods to the children, to the babies, specifically at the age of 6 months. So, World Health Organization recommends that we need to exclusively breastfeed the baby until 6 months of age, and after 6 months only, we need to start with introducing varied solid diets, family foods to the baby. So coming to these stages, there are four main stages in weaning. Stage one is wherein we introduce very basic solid foods at the age of 6 months, wherein we give, either it could be mashed foods or pureed foods, but there are another way of weaning. Like it could be a traditional weaning whereby we provide the food with a spoon, the purees or mashed foods with a spoon to the baby. Whereas there is another term called as the baby-led weaning, which is also very happening right now, whereby the children is basically introduced by giving solid foods. For example, cooked carrot or cooked. Avocado or basically in order to soft lumps, so that they themselves will try, they catch the food, they will eat the food, and then they'll see like how the texture is. So that is something we can do. So it could be either a traditional weaning method or it could be a baby-led weaning method. So stage one is basically to introduce the solid foods, and stage two is whereby 6 to 9 months of age, wherein we introduce soft finger foods, mashed foods with lumps, foods like banana or soft ripe papaya, pear, cooked carrot sticks can be given. And stage three is wherein we introduce foods like family foods without salt or sugar, minced chopped foods, raw fruit and vegetable sticks, and it is basically from the age of 9 to 12 months. And stage 4 is after 12 months of age and later, wherein we aim for providing balanced nutrients to the child, and whereby foods from the family pot are introduced. So these are the four stages of weaning.
Thank you, Dr. Aishwarya, for your insight.
Thank you.
There are certain, when it comes to weaning, there are also certain guidelines for weaning, right? So, Dr. Ambika, would you want to weigh in?
Yes. So a very warm good afternoon, everyone, and thank you, Baby Chakra, for inviting me for this session. So like when it comes to guidelines for weaning, the AAP, that is the American Academy of Pediatrics, and also the World Health Organization, says that you are supposed to exclusively breastfeed the child up to 6 months of age, unless there are some inevitable circumstances like the mother is unable to produce enough breast milk or she is unable to produce breast milk. In that case, you can also arrange for donated breast milk if that is not possible, or like if the child has developed some intolerance. In that case, you'll be going for some formula, and in that case you can start early weaning. Otherwise, the AAP and the WHO says that you have to exclusively breastfeed the child up to 6 months of age, so that the baby is gaining all the nutrients and your like the baby's system is maturing very well.
Yes. Thank you, Dr. Ambika. That would bring us to a question, which is how to successfully wean a baby. Dr. Sushanta, would you want to add?
So I think by the time baby's 4 months of age, they start showing those telltale signs. Maybe like taking a spoon to the mouth, licking things. Something from the family plate. If they find some different taste or something, dipping into the dal. So these are the telltale signs which begin at 4 months of age. By the time the baby is 6 months, that is 2 months later on after 4 months, baby's tummy starts developing, baby's digestive system starts developing, and WHO recommends 6 months is the right age to start the weaning process. So I think the most important thing is the child should develop a very happy relationship with the food. It should not be force feeding. The day or the time that a mother is choosing to wean the baby, it should be a good mood day. Like, good mood not only for the baby but also for the mother on that day. It should be like a gadget free quiet corner of the house, where the baby is uh, comfortably sitting and enjoying food. Like, whatever we are giving in the bowl with a spoon, let the baby explore it, let the baby have some sensory play, some messy play, let the baby feel the texture, smell it, get the fragrance of the food, just enjoy the process. I think that's like, as the baby develops a happy healthy relationship with the food, it will take us a long way in of a child. So in the first, as Dr. Ashwarya rightly mentioned about the stages of weaning, in the first stage, what we begin is basically food which is like pasty or like soup-like consistency. That is from the 6 to 8 months of age. Something like moong dal khichdi, veggies like green peas, carrots, pumpkins, ragi apple stew, boiled apple, or curd would be great at this age. Amount of food that a child would consume would vary according, maybe it could be like a half teaspoon to half a bowl. Let the baby decide. Introduce the food 1 or 2 times a day as per the and let the one food item be introduced at one time, and then gradually, like, maybe give it for 3 days, and then we can even monitor the allergic reactions in case to any of the food. And after a meal, just offer some sips of water to the baby and let it be a very pleasant experience. After 6 to 8 months, as we observe, baby starts sitting down with support, baby starts developing a pincer grasp. Pincer grasp is like, between two fingers. That's the right time to introduce finger foods to the baby. So now we no longer need to uh, puree the food or make it like a soup. Like in the first stage, we were giving more of a semi-liquid food. Now here, it's a time to give smashed, semi-solid food, like maybe boiled, smashed carrots, potatoes, or uttapidli. Something that the baby can hold in the fingers, and it's not completely puree form, but it's not like solid. It's something in between, like a semi-solid. Chapati also is like a great option at this age. In order to fortify food, we can use simple methods like fermentation or germination of moong or the dals. Increase the nutritive value, the multivitamins, the micronutrients of the food. Also, like fermentation of the idli dosa batter, that also increases the nutritive value of the food. Also, it enhances the probiotic content in the food, which helps in the easy digestion of the food. And then to introduce, in case the child is a non-vegetarian, the family is a non-vegetarian, it's also the right stage to introduce eggs to the child, chicken, fish, mutton, one at a time, as I mentioned, like give it for 3 days and then see if there is no allergic reaction, then into the next item. But this is the right age to start even the non-vegetarian food. For the vegetarians, like we can introduce something like nuts and seeds. Nuts and seeds are a very good source of omega 3. Omega 3 is very, very important for the growing brain of the child. Hair, growing brain, something that, it's a good option, a good substitute for non vegetarian foods in vegetarian diet. Uh, uh, Family. At By the time the child is 8 to 10 months of age, child should be able to eat what the family pot in the on the family table they are eating, like your regular chapati, sabji, dal, rice. That's our target. By the time the child reaches 1 year of age, he should be able to consume the food from the family pot. Like, we say, like, you, you need not cook something separately for the child. So it becomes easy for the parent, easy for the child. Also, the child gets adapted into the family culture.
Yeah.
So I think
Thank you,
these are
Dr.
the good principles of successful weaning. And most importantly, I think child should enjoy the process.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Sushanta, for bringing out this point that the entire process should be enjoyable, of course, because the child is just getting used to new texture and all, and that's very important so that in the long run they are able to adjust with all sorts of food to meet the nutrition.
Yes.
So, talking about weaning, Dr. Aishwarya, could you tell us what foods should be avoided while weaning? Or are there any certain food to be kept in mind that should, yeah.
Yes, there are some foods which needs to be avoided during the weaning process, like salt, sugar, honey, undercooked eggs or cow's milk or unpasteurized soft cheeses, because these are some of the foods that can cause allergy in the child. And initially, it is not advisable to give initially, but yes, after a certain period of time, say after 8 to 9 months or 10 months, we can slowly introduce one food at a time, as like Dr. Sushanta had said, like we have to introduce one particular food and wait for 3 days and see how the allergen responses for the baby, and then decide accordingly. But sugar, salt, and honey needs to be avoided completely until 1 year of age, and it should be introduced only after 1 year of age of the baby. So the baby's organs are developing, the kidney is developing, and we are not supposed to introduce any salt or sugar or any honey foods to the baby, as these can affect the organs. So basically, it is advisable to give any salt, sugar, anything only after 1 year of the age. Also, there are certain foods like grapes or raisins or peas, like green peas, which are, can cause choking hazards in the baby, and that could also be taken care of and can be introduced slowly after 12 months of the age of the baby. And foods like citrus juices, those need to be avoided completely. So these are some of the foods that I would really recommend to avoid and take care of during the weaning stage.
Oh, sure. Thank you, Dr. Aishwarya, for your insights. So, Dr. Ambika, would you tell us how long does weaning take?
Okay. Again, the American Academy of Pediatrics says that like it's weaning should take place between 6 months to 24 months of age. But I personally believe that it depends upon baby to baby. As Dr. Sushanta and Dr. Dietitian Aishwarya has already said that it is a very happy process. Okay, the mother should be accomplished, and like the child also should be ready to wean. So this is something that goes on with the coordination of the mother and the child. So weaning basically starts after 6 months of age, and it should go on up to the child, like it is able to sleep through the night without asking for breast milk. And this will generally start happening when the baby is ready to take all the food that is served into an adult plate. And also, like it depends upon the mother that how early does she want to wean. Sometimes the baby sleep through the night by 10 months of age, and sometimes it goes on beyond 2 years. So there is no particular age for weaning. It depends upon the mother as well as the child. And in this aspect, like I already would like to mention the same thing again, as both the panel doctors have said, that baby led weaning is a very good approach, where the baby is able to understand its hunger cues. I'm so sorry. So like the baby is able to understand its hunger cues, the babies are able to understand every food texture. And the baby is coordinating with its hunger very well. The baby is eating dinner, like because dinner is the last meal the baby takes. It is eating the dinner as much as it needs. So then the baby will sleep through the night. If you are force feeding the baby, or like if you are not letting the baby judge, only then I think weaning will get a little difficult, both for the mother as well as the child. So weaning, generally there is no age bar. It can happen anytime between 10 months to 2 years or 3 years, depending upon the mother and the child, how well do they coordinate with each other.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Ambika, for your wonderful insights. So, we have one question from the viewers, and that is like, what if while weaning, the child is not able to, or the child is not accepting certain food? So, what is the approach then? Dr. Sushanta, would you want to like take that?
Yes. uh, yes, if a child is not accepting a certain food, see, weaning is a very, very important milestone in a child's life. So, and every child is going to be different and is going to have different preferences. All children are not going to be the same. So, if they are like a liking for a particular food, I think just reintroduce the food. Whatever the child likes at that particular moment, give him that. Stop giving that food for 4 to 5 days and reintroduce again after 4 to 5 days. Sometimes children do have acquired taste after reintroducing the same taste after a certain time, you know. So, and again, if the child is still not accepting it, again wait, again reintroduce after 4 to 5 days and give it a shot. So
Okay.
something like, maybe sometimes you can just enhance the taste of it by maybe adding a particular vegetable puree to it. Suppose child is not liking moong dal, maybe green peas smashed puree to it, or maybe you can add some carrot to it. Just enhance the taste, the texture. Play with the Let the child enjoy the food. Like, have some sensory play, some messy play with the food. You know, over a period of time, child will develop a liking towards it.
Yeah,
But don't force the child, just wait for a while and reintroduce after taking a break.
sure. Thanks a lot for adding your insights, Dr. Sushanta. Um,
Thank you.
yeah. Dr. Aishwarya, is there anything else that you would like to add?
So yes, so what I would like to add here is that winning is a very enjoyable experience which needs to be enjoyed by the mother, as well as we need to give a good experience to the baby, growing baby also. They shouldn't the baby shouldn't develop any aversion to any particular food or be a picky eater later on in life. So it's always important that we do not force the baby to eat any particular food. So if they don't like any particular food, do not force feed the baby. Just let it be, and after a few days you can reintroduce the food. So be gentle, be patient with the baby, because each baby has their own um,
Hmm.
specific period, as in like they might like a certain food, they may not like a certain food. So each baby is different, and accordingly be patient with a baby, and then accordingly enjoy the experience and be gentle with the whole process. So that is something I would like to add.
Sure. Thanks a lot, Dr. Aishwarya, for such a positive guideline. Dr. Ambika, is there anything that you would like to add?
I would totally, like concur with Dr. Aishwarya what she said. One thing is you have to be very, very patient. I am a new mom. I have a baby of 6 months old, yet to start weaning, and all I can tell you is that it's just a game of patience. If you want to understand the baby, if you want the baby to enjoy the food, like rather than just eating all the mashed food or the dal ka pani or the rice ka pani, which is basically low on nutrition. If you want, like the baby to enjoy every food that is served, understand every texture and respect food what is, like served, then patience is the only key. And more than that, respect your baby's choices. If today your baby says it doesn't want to eat a particular food, please respect it, and wait for few days, like wait for a couple of days and then reintroduce the food again, because the baby doesn't have any food palate yet. All the baby knows is the taste of the breast milk. If the baby
Yes.
has to accept anything new, it has to get used to and acclimatize to that taste. And that is going to take a little time. So all you have to do is respect your baby's choices. If today your baby says, I don't want to eat any food, please respect that. After some time, your baby is going to come back to you again when the baby is hungry. If you just like force feed that, no, you have to empty your plate, you have to empty your bottle, then no, it is going to be a very wrong approach where the baby starts fearing food. most of the cases that I have handled, like the babies have developed fear to food because they are being force fed. They are, like not being respected. Today we are hungry, like we are physically more active. We eat half a chapati more. Your baby is also, like some days it's not very active, it eats a little less. Some days it's very active, your baby, it wants to eat a little more. So you should respect their choices and just be patient. It is not a game of 5 minutes or 10 minutes as we elders eat our food. No, it's going to be a game of minutes to hours, where your
Yeah.
baby starts eating food. And then, like it's going to be a very gradual process, and the end result is going to be fantastic. This is what I want to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ambika. Rightly said, because the baby is adopting to a new journey altogether. It is going to take time, just as we do with anything new. So, yeah, it's a baby after all. Dr. Sushanta, would you want to add in something?
Mm, I think the dietitian Aishwarya and Dr. Ambika have pretty well. I think the take-home message for any dislike for a food would be, I think mother should have patience. Reintroduce the food after a certain while. Maybe you can just add a little bit of texture to it, let the baby enjoy the process. And yeah, I think the key is like just be patient and reintroduce after a certain while, and baby will be good.
Yeah. Yeah, that's nice to know. Thank you, doctors. Thank you for such a wonderful session and for all your insights. I'm sure it's going to help all the moms and new moms out there. So yeah, to wrap it up, I would just like to thank everyone and yes, thank you.
Thank
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.